Hey folks, again, it's Michael LaFido from the Luxury Listing Podcast, and really excited to bring to you today's interview where we have Kevin Toit from Keller Williams in Anaheim. And I'm really excited because he's doing some exciting things. Again, they definitely are in a low inventory marketplace, but he's going to be sharing with us how he triple ends deals. And again, we're talking about high-end properties and double ending. You know, again, check with your broker, but dual agency double ending deals is exciting. Well, he's going to be sharing what he's doing to triple end deals. So with that being said, Kevin, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have you here, and for folks, my name is Matt Johnson. I produce the show Behind the Scenes, and Kevin and I were introduced. We're actually on local San Diego radio together, and I got to hear a little bit of Kevin's amazing story. We'll get to that in a second, as far as him coming over from South Africa and some of the cool things that he's experienced on the way to becoming a top agent in the LA area. But let's start with the triple ending. So Kevin, give us an idea of what let's define the terms first. And then we'll go into a little bit of how you structure this, because I know people are going to be really interested in that right off the bat.
Okay, thank you, Matt. So my market is super competitive. I live in Newport Beach, which is really it's the epitome of luxury in real estate because everybody wants to live there, from Nicolas Cage to Warren Buffett and so forth. And our neighboring city is Laguna Beach. So the average price point in Laguna Beach is 2.1 million and up. That was of last year. And then in Laguna Beach, it's about 1.3 and up. So it's inventory is super low, super tight, and super competitive. So I had to come up with a strategy. And one of my lenders, Tom, came to me and said, Kevin, get them to TripleEnd Deals. So I'm kind of giving Tom Meister the credit. And what he did, Matt and Mike, was he showed me the strategy of don't go to the already listed homes that are most of the time they're overpriced. The agents, on high-end homes, they go through quite a few listing agents. They don't really sell the first time or the second time around. It's around about the third or fourth agent that has listed that home that it sells because the sellers realize that they're priced too high. Their ego is bigger than their home, and so they kind of have to come to realization that maybe the agents do know what they're doing and they should price it correctly because then it will sell. So what you do is when we have a buyer in our office over here in Anaheim Hills or Yorba Linda, we will take that buyer, and if their criteria is, say, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,800 square foot home, we will have our title guy pull the stats on the area that they want to live and the region. And then let's say there's 500 homes there, gentlemen. They will then go through those 500 homes and find the 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,800 square foot homes that have about 20% equity in them as well. So the lender can also make some money because the lender doesn't really make money on the buyer because we already have the buyer that's already either pre-approved or approved. Approved is almost the same thing as paying cash. And then we'll do a flyer, mail it out. The lender will do the flyer, mail it out to the 27 homes that we've kind of funneled down to. And then the agent, a few days later, will go door knocking those 27 homes because then you're coming from purpose, you're coming from contribution. Instead of just going and doing cold door knock, Mike, you're actually coming from some purpose. And it's easier to approach the sellers at that point, even if they're not. At least you're building a relationship because they could easily in the near future become a potential seller.
All right, so let me just kind of recap so far what you've said. So what I hear you saying is, hey, listen, the properties that have been picked over, they got long market time. You know, your buyer has seen them. They probably followed them. You know, for whatever reason, they might be saying it's a stale listing. It wasn't good enough for other people. So, you know, unless that seller gets realistic and slashes the price, I'm not really interested in that. So Kevin, or what can you and your team dig up that isn't out there? Because people always want that unlisted high-end property because they want to get to it before everybody else does.
Yeah, secret inventory, Mike. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. And so you're bringing huge value to your buyer because you're going above and beyond, bringing them properties that meet their criteria that aren't on the market. So they're kind of cutting in front of the line, so to speak. They're going to get exclusivity as far as first to see it. And worst case scenario, out of those 27 properties, what I hear you saying is best case scenario is they get one of them. And so you've double ended. In other words, you bring the buyer in, but you also get the other piece of the pie because you go to the seller and say, hey, listen, the good news is you don't have to have tons of unqualified people tracking through your home. I'm bringing in a qualified buyer. You're going to get paid on both ends, correct, in this scenario?
Absolutely, on the buy end, on the selling end. And then when that seller, Mike, now needs to buy, they need to move on. So now they're either going to downsize or buy something bigger and more grandiose.
And so if you built rapport with them and you're bringing value to them and you do a great job and help with both ends, facilitating both the buy and the sale side, obviously they're going to build rapport and trust. And what I hear you saying, Kevin, is that's where you learned a triple end deal, so to speak. So you took one buyer, and now you're basically in so many ways getting three for the price of one. You represented the buy side, let's just say John Smith, and John Smith bought, Jerry Jones's home. Well, Jerry and John, that's two clients, and you also helped Jerry buy a property. So there's your triple ending a deal.
Absolutely, yes. And then Mike, you repeat that cycle over and over and over again. So you're in a sense finding that secret inventory, and you're creating a whole nother economy. That's the promised land right there, Mike.
Mm-hmm. I like it. And so many, and what you just described, Kevin, and Matt, this from our discussions, but what you described, Kevin, is in most marketplaces that ultra high end is definitely a buyer's market. So no matter where in the US, at some price point, it becomes a buyer's market. In other words, a lot of inventory, not a lot of demand. So of course, if you're in a seller's market and there's multiple offers, well, that's difficult as well. This would work as well because now you're pulling out properties that aren't even on the market. So this strategy could work both in a buyer's market or in a seller's market.
Absolutely. Our fiduciary duty, the reason we get rewarded so well as real estate agents is because we're making our clients' dreams a reality. So at the end of the day, that kind of, you can call it a pocket inventory. You're really giving them something that is unique and not on the market. So it becomes a very entertaining, creative deal. And then that's when you own your business now, Mike and Matt. You're now creating a whole new economy where, in a sense, that you're going out, you're being strategic in your approach. You're finding their clients precisely what they want. It's on their wish list, which you should be doing anyway. And then you're making the transaction smooth and seamless, where there's not multiple offers and a bidding war. And, it's almost like nobody sees the transactions happening. It's kind of the quiet power scenario.
Yeah, I love it. Now, for those listeners out here that might say, well, man, that sounds great, Kevin, when you have that high-end buyer. What do you do when you don't have a buyer? Well, you can leverage other agents in your office. And I've taught this to other agents. So, you still take those 27 properties. And if you get some sellers that raise their hand, say, I'm interested, where is your buyer? Well, at that point, Kevin, you go back to your KW office or whatever office you're at, and you say, hey, listen, does anyone have a buyer looking in the Saddle Ridge subdivision? Because I have a potential pocket listing coming up. And then you get 3 or 4 agents that say, I have someone. So now you go over to Jerry Jones's house and say, Jerry, I got 3 agents. I got 3 potential buyers for you. They're members of, and so that's what you would do in that scenario.
Yes, absolutely. Mike, so our Keller Williams Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda office is the 3rd largest office in the world for Keller Williams. We have, as of the end of February, this is the 3rd of April, but as of the end of February, we had 813 agents in our market center.
Goodness.
Yeah. So the other
for those of you that don't know KW terminology, 1,830 agents. You're talking based out of your KW office, correct?
this particular office, so if this was an umbrella, under this umbrella here in Yorba Linda, we have on our books 813 agents. So we're the third largest in the world. The other two are in Texas, which is where Keller Williams started out. So they kind of had a head start.
They're based in Austin, yeah.
So they had a head start, Mike. So we're doing catch up, and this year we'll surpass any of them because our goals are much higher. And I believe, I don't like to say no to my goals. And if people scoff at my goals, then I know that I'm dreaming big enough. So this year we will surpass them. And we want to do, we really do hundreds of millions of dollars in closed sales volume already. Mm-hmm. However, our goal this is to hit that just north of the $1 billion mark. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's really exciting. That is a huge nugget. That's the big takeaway from today's call for sure. Now, Kevin, is there anything else that you would like to share that maybe for those listeners that are looking to either break into the high end or the luxury marketplaces? By the way, I love the Newport and Laguna area. My wife and I, we were out there for 2 weeks. We rented a place last June. And we love it. We'll probably go out there again this summer. We definitely will have to go out and have a cocktail. I'd love to meet you in person, but that's a great marketplace to be in. So for those listeners that maybe aren't in a $2 million price point, maybe they're, some, robust town in the Midwest somewhere and high end or luxury is $500,000 or $700,000. I mean, do you have any other maybe big takeaway or something that, again, if not, that's great. What you've given is already huge, but just, do you have something, that our listeners can maybe take away that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Yes, what you focus on expands. So I have a lot of agents that will come to our market center, and so currently right now I'm working on a couple of $1 million listings in Laguna Beach and Monarch Beach. Monarch Beach is a small city next to Laguna Beach. It's nestled between Ritz-Carlton and St. Regis. It's a fear factor, Mike. A lot of agents, they dream of selling $1 million homes. They don't think it's possible. I don't think that way, Mike. I came to America when I was 19 years old with $20 in my pocket, one suitcase, and my dad put me on a one-way trip. So after 6 months of surfing and going from San Diego all the way down up to Santa Barbara surfing, and I wish I had profit share, which I only found out 21 years later would be possible, because once I wanted to go back to South Africa because I'd kind of spent all my time and effort and money here, that was about 6 months later. I couldn't. I was stuck in America, so I had no choice but to make it happen. So what I did was, I was very simple. Now remember, I was a surfer, so I had no money. I had a surfboard under my arm, and I'm stuck in America. So I did what every savvy salesperson would be. I followed the money.
Follow the money.
Follow the money, because you can give me the crumbs all day long. I don't care, because those crumbs will be in the millions of dollars. Now, right. I'm not talking. In the beginning, I worked for a mega team, and I learned from the mega agent. I realized he was going to Mexico twice a month, and I was working my backside off. And I could do it myself. So I left him. I became a mega agent, did about $10 million myself, just winging it. That's awesome. Then I started a mega team, and within 3 months, we had $37.5 million in our pipeline.
Jeez.
So these were not rocket scientists, real estate agents. These were just agents who lived on their cell phone. They're advanced millennials, and they use Facebook, Snapchat. You name it, they used it to look for buyers and sellers and anybody that wanted to invest in real estate. And we hit it hard. We prospected every single day, Monday through Friday, from 9 to noon. We had fancy lunches because by that time we were exhausted and full of, objections and a lot of burnt off energy. And then we'd come back and take care of the logistics of our business. So we really only prospected the 3 hours a day. That was it. We didn't do any more than that. In the afternoon, we really just took care of appointments, negotiations, contracts, and so forth. And then on the weekends, we did open houses.
Well, your story, I mean, I love it, from mess to success. There's a show out there on CNBC called The Deed, and the owner of the small boutique firm in Chicago that I'm based out of, is featured on there. And he came over from Ireland with a similar story. And my big takeaway from what you said there, Kevin, is kind of follow the money, but also you did join a team where someone was doing it, and so you could leverage what they were doing. And that's what I always tell people that are inquiring about, how do I break into, and Mike, I do low-end homes. Well, we tell them, you got to have the knowledge, you got to have the confidence, you got to have the skill set, and that's part of what we teach with our luxury listing specialist certification. But the other thing that you can do at a shoestring budget is join a rock star team.
Yes. I'm now in leadership at Keller Williams. So I'm part of hiring agents and also building mega agents and building mega teams. That's what I've been hired to do. And my CEO, Tony, is a remarkable man because he allows me the free reign of pursuing my dreams. So really, you get what you deserve, and what you deserve is in your imagination. So, and there is nothing, there's no try. I will do it. So a lot of the time, my agents that I'm now are building mega teams and that are becoming mega agents because of my endorsing them and supporting them and making it all about them, is all they, what they need? They need your vision to be bigger than theirs, Mike. Because then they'll follow you. If you have an okay dream, let's say for instance, Matt, and they're gonna be unimpressed. But when you have a huge goal, they're gonna follow you. So that's always important. However, I had to learn that from great people so that I could become great in what I was trying to accomplish, and then pass that down to the other agents who want to become great. Because that at the end of the day, it's be, do, have. At the end of the day, if you want to be great, you have to do the work, and then you'll have it. Now, I don't focus on the performance. What I focus on is I focus on the outcome. That's my responsibility. The performance is up to the agent. Then I hold them accountable, where I give them different spreadsheets and online tools to track their progress. Then I hold them accountable for that outcome. So at the end of the day, I make them go out. Our agents with mega teams and our mega agents, I have them do 3 hours of prospecting in the morning and door knock at least 30 homes a day.
I love it. Give them direction. I mean, you got to give them something, right? Something sustainable, because otherwise they'll be like wandering lost sheep.
On your way, what I do to them, Mike, I say, on your way home, go door knock 30 homes, not 50 or 100 or 200, just 30. On your way home, go door knock 30 homes. Mike, within 2 weeks, they're putting offers in. So they went from months of having nothing to within weeks of being in production.
Jeez.
Yeah. I love that approach, Kevin, because people get overwhelmed sometimes. As much as we would love them to go out and do 3, 5, 7, 10 hours of prospecting a day, that seems like an insurmountable task. But you can hit 30 doors in an hour, and you're asking for their commitment to something that's sustainable day after day. And it sounds like you're actually telling them, like, don't, even if you want to or whatever, don't go out, don't expect yourself to hit 50 or 100. Just go out, do 30, stick with 30, and like establish the habit. Get over that hump of not doing anything, and just get into the rhythm of doing something and commit to that same number until they get to the point where it's more of a habit. Then you can start to step them up from there.
Right, Matt. So like you said, I give them some direction, and then I endorse them and I support them. So I make them I call them mega agents. I call them rock stars. So at the end of the day, they leave. So my office is my castle, and I have an army working for me. I've got soldiers that I am training to go out into field to claim territory, to bring it back to the castle. So they need to be given the right tools and the right knowledge and experience, because that way they can go out with courage and claim territory. I don't want them going out there with not knowing their scripts or how to handle objections or the commands in their voices and the words to use to get people to either be motivated or want to sell. So there's skill involved, but that's why I'm part of leadership here. That's why they have me doing what I'm doing. Is instead of me now managing my own mega agent team, I'm now managing a mega office. So it's just another stepping stone.
I love it. I love it. Well,
man.
it's good stuff. So what I hear you say, kind of to kind of recap, if you will, and what a great interview, Kevin. I really appreciate. So what I hear you is how to triple end deals. So what Kevin's talking about on the tripling ending of deals, folks, if you didn't get this, is listen, if you have a buyer and you're in a market where there's a lot of inventory or picked over inventory, bring more value to that buyer, find them for lack of a better term, a pocket listing, a property that's not on, and you represent both the buyer and the seller. Again, check with your broker to make sure you can do this, but in most states you can. And so you represent both ends. And if you're bringing enough value to that seller that you didn't know before you send that mailer or door knock, hopefully they'll buy through you. So you'll triple end the deals. And then the second part of today's interview was basically, he was talking about having structure, having scripts, having the confidence, follow the money. And if you don't have the confidence or the track record, invest in yourself with a certification or join a luxury team where you can borrow that credibility. So, Kevin, just some really amazing content that you brought to today's interview. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you.
And Kevin, tell people how they can reach you, especially if they're in kind of the Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda kind of area. How can they reach you to talk about their career and potentially joining your office?
I love mentoring, so it's super easy. My number is 949-873-1679. Again, it's 949-873-1679. And they can also email me at, it's kind of an interesting last name, Kevin Toit at kw.com. So that's my whole name and my last name. If you look in the details of the description of Matt Johnson's and Mark LaFido's podcast, you'll see my name spelled out there. Then just put an at kw.com.
Yep.
That's really easy. So Kevin and his last name at kw.com. And of course, that will be on the Luxury Listing Podcast thumbnail that anyone can see. So Kevin, by the way, with your accent, by the way, it's so trustworthy. I guarantee you attract business just based on that as well. And you come across,
thank you,
not just with an accent, but you come across very sincere and having high ethics and high standards is huge. So that's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing with us how to triple end deals. And guys, with that, again, Michael LaFido from the Luxury Listing Podcast. Again, if you want some additional help, resources, you can reach out to us privately or send us an email, Michael at Marketing Luxury Group. And my slogan is not the market, it's the marketing. So no matter if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, a small market, a large market, if you're a small boutique or a large boutique, we can help you break into and, more importantly, dominate selling high-end and luxury homes. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Mike.